right? Half times 4 times 4. So those fractions would be equivalent. Kaylee had one at her table. What did you say?
I said 2 6 and 4 12.
2 6 and 4 12. So if I had 2 6, it looks like this on my screen. And 4 12, if I had 2 6, looks like that. Will you put your eyes up here? Here, I'll make it. I'll put it up higher so it's a little easier to see. So I've shaded 2 6. Yes?
Yes.
Now, to show that 2 6 is the same as 4 12, how do I turn 2 into 4? Times 2, right? So, I know what you're saying, Turnin. Turnin said you half it. You half the pieces. You half the pieces to get 4 pieces. So I understand his train of thought. Thank you for helping me clarify that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, yes, I'm multiplying times 2. I'm multiplying my numerator times 2 and my denominator times 2. But here's what that looks like on the model. I'm actually halving those pieces. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. Do we see that? How many pieces are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I go back and shade anything? No, I just broke them up differently. So Kaylee, you found a pair of equivalent fractions. Do we understand what it means when I multiply? I'm just cutting on my model. Okay? It's a big idea. All right. What I would like for us to do is I want us to take a look at the screen. It says, imagine that the rectangle below represents a pan of cornbread. What is a simple story problem you could make up about the rectangle below? Be sure to include relevant numbers in your story problem. So let's look at this pan of cornbread. It's an imaginary pan of cornbread. Okay? Now, our story problem that we're going to create is just a word problem. So we're just going to come up with a word problem where someone has to do some math to solve it. Okay? If I look at this pan of cornbread and I have to include relevant numbers in my problem, what numbers might I include? Look at the picture and help me visualize. What numbers do you see? What numbers should we be able to include in our story problem? So I'm seeing the same hands that keep coming up. Ethan.
There could be 3 and...
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. 3. Do we see that there are 3 rows?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull it up like this so I can write. 3 rows. What other number might you use to describe this picture, Hunter?
Well, I see 5 in the 3 rows.
So there's like 5 columns. Okay, there's 5 pieces in each of my rows, so I see 5 up there. What other number is represented here? Person? 15. There are 15 pieces inside. Okay? So if we're thinking about a story problem, our story problem really needs to include the numbers either 3, 5, or 15. Okay? Now if my story problem includes 3 and 5, then the answer to my story problem needs to be what?
15.
15. If my story problem includes 15 and 5, then the answer needs to be 3. So don't say anything in your story problem about dividing it in half, because 2 is not really represented by this picture. Do you understand that? I'll give you a moment to talk at your table about a story problem. Okay?
I think 15. This is called 15. Billy's mom baked 15 people. And then when did we do mathematician or like remember you had to get 5. Oh, there were 15 like cornbread. And there was 5 and how much there were no, what's the answer? How many pieces? There was 5 rows. There's so Billy's mom 5 columns of pan of cornbread. Okay. So if you do that, then Billy's Billy's mom was making cornbread, and she was making 5. Well, on her pan, she had 5 rows of cornbread.
So then the question should be how many as long as the answer is not given and they have to do some math to find it, it's perfect. Okay, so do a lollipop. You know that one?
That's like the easiest math problem.
We've been talking, now let's stop. Alright? So I've heard some people talking. Okay, I heard a couple of different things. I heard one group saying that somebody's mom made a pan of cornbread, and when she cut the cornbread, she cut it into 5 columns and 3 rows, and the question was how many pieces of cornbread does she have? Does that picture work for that?
Yes.
Okay. Adam, will you share with me what were you saying about cornbread?
Joe had 15 pieces of cornbread and he wanted to give each person, there were 5 people, how many pieces of cornbread would each person get?
So if there's 5 people, this is one person's cornbread, right? So how many would they get? 3. Okay, so is that an appropriate story problem for this problem? Absolutely. Okay. Some groups today haven't been as good as you guys were, so I did create some story problems. Let's see if these work. The first one says, Mr. Jones cuts his cornbread into 15 pieces and shares it with 3 people. How much cornbread does each person get? Is that appropriate or not appropriate for this problem? Good. I like that I saw some thumbs up for that. Let's read the second one. I know my screen needs to be pulled down just a little bit. Can you help me with that, Julia? Can you pull it down just a little? It says, Mr. Jones cuts his cornbread into 5 sections. That's perfect. That's fine. It's okay. Right there is great. So as long as I can see the words. Mr. Jones cuts his cornbread into 5 sections. He gives 3 pieces away. How many pieces does he have left? Want to see with your thumb. Do you agree, yes, this is a good one, or no, I'm not so sure about that. Seeing a lot of thumbs down. That's good news. If there were 5 sections, does this picture show 5 sections? No. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the 3 pieces, taking those away, is not going to give me an answer of 15. And so it's important to recognize that we need to represent the numbers correctly. All right? Let's do some more stuff with these.